thriving, lurking, hiding in the deepest, darkest recesses of space, where no one can fathom their dark, hidden place, secretly living in hollowed out comets and or clouds around star systems. They envelop their cloaked shrouds. They mystasticize their malevolent alien race, silently stalking to pounce from every secluded sector of space. Welcome to the Dark Fortress. If evil ever went cold and quiet, this is where it would move in from the interstellar night. How could you defend? Listen to my new theory to answer the Fermi paradox. For why on our doors we hear no loud alien knocks? The Fermi paradox is poised with the pregnant proposition that space aliens should be evident looking into the skies at every position. Given the hundreds of planets we find in our galaxy, it is clear, irrefutable evidence of alien civilizations should already be here. In this video, I will introduce you to my new theory, my answer to the Fermi paradox, which is an offshoot to the dark forest concept. We scanned the heavens for neighbors and found the universe's quietest HOA. The phones don't ring, the sky stays silent, and Ceti's inbox, it's still empty. The dark forest idea, which has its roots in Lou Chickson's book, The Dark Forest, postulates that the cosmos is a perilous place where extraterrestrial civilizations keep quiet for the fear of being discovered by a more technologically sophisticated, hostile race. It provides a terrifying solution for the Fermi paradox, which is the contradiction between the likelihood of alien life and the paucity of evidence that it has been discovered to support it. Nothing irrefutable, that's the case. A universe where hell is other intelligent beings is created, where civilizations function as covert hunters in the deep, dark abyss of space. The dark fortress concept is a more frightening and sinister story to be told. The dark fortress says, keep quiet or die trying. But I take the twist deeper, not just quiet, but cold. Fermi paradox believers usually come to the conclusion that if the conditions for life to arise from non-living matter are as lenient as the evidence we have here on Earth, that extraterrestrial life would be so common that it would be impossible that it hasn't already been found. Consider, we find evidence for life on Earth as soon as the rocks cool down from their cataclysmic creation, which I have discussed earlier, and it actually suggests panspermia, which should further increase the likelihood of life in our galaxy. So where is it? Enrico Fermi, a Nobel Prize-winning scientist, asked the question, which is sometimes written as, where is everybody? Jokingly, during the 1950 convention at Los Alamos, with Emil Konopensky, Edward Teller, the father of the hydrogen bomb, and Herbert York. Early versions of the paradox have also been found in the works of Jules Verne, way back in 1865, and Bernard Le Bouvier de Fontenelle, way back in 1686. And of course, Konstantin Tsiolkovsky, the Russian-Soviet rocket scientist. There have been many attempts to solve this Fermi paradox. For example, it has been said that intelligent aliens are very rare, that such societies don't last very long. Sometimes known as the Great Filter, which I think is a big driver. Well, just look at us. How long are we going to be around? Or they postulate that they exist, but humans don't see any proof of them. That's where we're going. The Milky Way, our home, has billions and billions of sun-like stars. There is a good chance that some of these stars have planets like Earth orbiting around in their habitable zones. A lot of these stars and planets that orbit them are very much older than our own sun. If worlds like Earth are common, some of them may have had intelligent life a long time ago. Some of these civilizations may have learned how to move between the stars, which is something that humans are looking into right now. The Milky Way can be traveled across in a few million years, even if space travel moves very slowly. This could potentially even be accomplished with a concept from the 1960s, known as the Innsman Drive. Since many stars like the Sun are billions of years older than our Sun, alien civilization, or at least their probes, should have already been here to Earth. However, there isn't strong, irrefutable proof that this has happened. It's not publicly available. Neither do we see alien megastructures such as Dyson spheres, which we should fully expect with a Kardashev Type 2 civilization. Mind you, twist is that alien civilizations are wary of living around a star. These civilizations retreat to the recesses of their Kuiper belts and Oort clouds around their stars. They build their cities inside of comets or other dark, remote bodies. Why? Everyone looking for potential competitive civilizations or places to colonize will be looking at the stars and the planets around them, bathing in the light of their suns. To survive, technological civilizations can't just stay quiet. They have to leave the light. It must go dark into the deepest, darkest recesses, away from their cradles of life, their star and planets that they were born on. They must leave if they want to live on. Because if you can't be found, you can't be vaporized. It's the interstellar version of pulling the plug and ghosting the galaxy. To survive, they build their dark fortresses and hollowed out comets. Comets have the elements essential for life. The technology we have for building suspension bridges would enable us, even with current suspension bridge building technology, to wrap a comet with steel cables, or maybe better, Kevlar cords. Put a bag over it and vacuum deposit sprayed metal upon it and then you'll have a hull for your dark fortress. Sprinkle some of the material from the interior on it, and presto, it still looks like a natural object. Pretty much so. Then you can spin it for some artificial gravity. Add an old-fashioned nuclear reactor, and you'll have power for internal heat and lights. Inside this dark fortress would be a community with homes and shops. It could even sport a park, mini parks, with trees and streams. It would be a mini world turned inside out, but hidden, no doubt. This would essentially be a Bernal sphere type space colony, a habitat built with technology available back in the 1970s. And Bernal came up with this concept back in 1929. A little more work would need to be done to close the loops for the ecological life support system so it would remain a stable biome. Of course, that could be augmented technologically. With just 6 feet of rock in the soil under your feet, the inhabitants would be protected both from cosmic rays and their secondary particles. Add more shielding, maybe some heat radiators, sensors, weapon systems, propulsion like an Inzman drive, and presto, you have your dark fortress. DIY Comet condos. Home Depot meets the Death Star. Outside is hidden, dark, and stealthy. Inside it's a paradise that's very healthy. A true solitude of fortress, into which few should ever intrude. If done in our own solar system, based on current scientific mass estimates, the resources from the Kuiper Belt and Oort cloud could theoretically be converted into habitats with an internal surface area equivalent to 19,600 to 39,200 times the surface area of Earth. Not a galactic empire of light, but an empire of shadows. Even YouTube's algorithm couldn't recommend that many channels. This calculation assumes you hollow out cometary bodies and use the excavated materials to form thick protective shells of this new rotating habitats like Bernal spheres. But the best estimate across this range would be for 35,700 Earth equivalents. But keep in mind, most of our surface is uninhabitable, unairable. One could do far better inside a dark fortress. If you assume a relatively high modern urban density of 1,000 people per kilometer squared, or 1 person per 1,000 meters squared, and believe me, I can show where you can make it far better than this. For the interior of the space habitats, the total population could be 1.82 times 10 to the 19th people. This is 18.2 quintillion people, or 18.2 quintillion space aliens. A number that surpasses the capacity of the main asteroid belt by many orders of magnitude. Asteroids themselves can produce about 1,000 times the surface area of Earth. Asteroidal habitants these habitats could support on order of 500 trillion people. About 34,000 times what Earth could support. A nice little intermediary on the way to the comets. I digress. So let's go back to the comets. The vast quantity of materials and volatiles like water ice in the outer solar system make these habitats much easier to manufacture as the primary structure and shielding material, and what we require for life is abundant. The total inhabitable surface area that could be produced from the outer solar system bodies would support a population of, this is just the comets and Kuiper Belt, not the asteroids, 2.22 billion times greater than the current population of Earth. How many Einsteins, how many Beethovens could we get? Ah, yes, a rotating space habitat providing 1G of gravity, like here on Earth at the equator while rotating at 1 revolution per minute, RPM, will need a diameter approximately 1.81 kilometers or 1.12 miles. This size is slightly larger than Dr. Gerard K. O'Neill's Island 2 space colony concept, which was 1.8 kilometers in diameter and intended to support 10,000 people. A nice little city, assuming the projected total of 35,700 Earth equivalent surface areas is used to build these habitats, and each habitat has an internal diameter of 1.12 miles. You could construct approximately 1.78 trillion of these dark fortress space habitats from the comets around a star such as our sun. Imagine the diversity if each habitat had its own culture. Mommy space colonies, anyone? Keepest thou out. Oh, or imagine a fleet of over 1 trillion Death Star dark fortresses. Yikes. I hope they're on my side. If Earth's population continued to grow at its current rate, it would take approximately 2,330 years to reach a population of a quintillion people. However, the assumption of a constant growth rate is highly unrealistic. This calculation assumes the growth rate remains constant at 0.85%, which is a false premise based on current demographic trends. The global population rate peaked in the early 1960s at over 2% and has been steadily declining ever since. The UN's medium projected rates for this indicate the world population is expected to peak at around 10.4 billion later this century before it begins to decline. The current trajectory is heading toward a stabilized or more likely declining population on Earth, not the continued exponential growth that we've seen. Most analysts say it's going to drop like a rock. If the growth rate were to remain constant at 0.85%, 1%, this is 0.8%, or 85 and 10,000. It would take over 2 millennia to reach that enormous number. Under the most likely scenario, that population level would never be reached by humanity. People in industrialized societies are not choosing to reproduce at the population replacement rate even. As Peter Zion, a prominent geopolitical analyst, has pointed out, he says, children in such societies, or more advanced Western societies, are just expensive pieces of furniture. Maybe with longevity and proper incentives that can be changed, or artificial limbs may even be deployed. But I digress. The point is that everything required awaits us in the deepest, darkest recesses of space. Dyson spheres are neither required nor wanted in space's remotest regions. Any spacefaring civilization already has the technology to do this. More technology just makes it easier. There's plenty of hydrogen in the water ices of comets for fusion, and zero-point energy is everywhere if we can manage to harness it. This is indeed exactly what any spacefaring civilization intent on surviving or conquering other sectors of space would do. Each star's Oort cloud reaches out almost to the Oort clouds of the adjacent stars. So the alien inhabitants would just hop from star to star, colonizing each star's Oort cloud, spreading throughout the galaxy. From there, they are poised to eradicate possible threats emerging from other civilizations. Of course, these comet-laden Oort clouds could also be the alien highways for invading our own solar system. You know, it makes me think of a game I used to play back in the days when the state of the art was a Commodore 64 computer. And I used to play a Star Trek war game with some of my best friends. And I always won. How? Of course, this is when we had dial-up modems. You didn't play online. You know, I'd work on my little computer and I'd, hand it to my buddy. And we would each compete to see who could beat the other one. And so in this game, you got so many star bases and so many starships, and there was a universe of X number of stars, quite a few. And you could either go attack your enemy or send a starship out to build a star base and more starships in some other sector of the galaxy. And so what I would do, I would send almost everything I had to the far-flung reaches, as far as I could get them away, for the most part. And then I would just focus everything on building star bases and starships to build a big fleet. And then I would send just a few in to distract my opponent to think I was over there. And get him chasing me over there, but I'm way out here. Make them think I'm closer in. Then we go, where you at? Where are you? I can't find you. Where's your stuff? I can't find you. Meantime, I was building a deep, dark invasion force. Vast army or force of Starfleet ships. And then all at once, I would pounce from every sector of space and totally annihilate them because I'd have them vastly outnumbered while they were out busy chasing ghosts. I was building the most. So I got there fastest with the mostest and totally annihilated. And they couldn't survive it because I had the firepower. See what I'm saying? What could happen with these dark fortresses and Oort clouds? Think about it. Once you get space manufacturing really going and you tap into the resources of space and let the launch taking some Earth, things can actually grow at an exponential rate. That's very fast. It's something we're not really too used to, but it could happen. So, think about that. Alien dark fortresses would own the night and snuff out anyone else who doesn't. If the dark fortresses are already out there, peering from the dark depths of space, every radio telescope, nuclear blast, or deep space beacon could risk tripping the alarms. Our best survival strategy might be quiet expansion, hiding our heat signatures, avoiding the megastructure construction, no Kardashev Type 2 civilization apparent, and keeping transmissions minimal. Ceti might not find life because the moment it is found, they vanish. When Ceti points its dishes at the stars, it's like knocking on doors of empty houses, while the real owners watch from far out in the woods. Because nothing says peaceful civilization quite like strapping nukes to missiles. Extensions of my dark fortress concept may even explain unidentified anomalous phenomenon, UAPs, aka UFOs, the Tic Tac videos that come from our military and reports from people since the dawn of civilization. Look out at our own world. Just look at us. No matter how civilized we get, we are a violent, warring race. We wage wars, fighting furiously, committing crimes in practically every place. Anyone watching, peering from the deepest, darkest recesses of space may determine we're the ones they have to erase. They will look upon our place. Will we be viewed as an emerging Klingon race? Are we an ignorant, cocky little civilization? Is unaware as newly hatched chicks chirping gleefully as hungry eyes from the hidden fox den peer upon us? So, if they do send probes to see who we are, they are not likely that they will be coming from any star, for all around dark fortresses could be found. They would look like a comet we would expect in order to surveil us and to inspect. Maybe what should be our greatest fear is that indeed they are already here. And maybe, just maybe, they've already filed a report from the deep, dark recesses of our own comet cloud orbit. Now, here's the scary part. We may have already glimpsed a dark fortress in our own Kuiper belt around our own sun. A large trans-Neptunian object known as 15180 15180 R1, which is approximately 83 miles in diameter, has been found. Its rate of spin is reportedly too high for it not to fling apart if it were made of rock and ice, as a comet should be. And it orbits close to Pluto. Is it a dark fortress rotating to provide artificial gravity? But we sent our deep space probe, New Horizon, to investigate it. New Horizon is the probe that took that famous heart-shaped photo, that heart shape that was found on the planet Pluto. Now it gets spookier. As New Horizons approached, it went dark. Before it could get a good image, it shut down. Then even stranger, once it was too far away to get a good image, New Horizons spring back to life. Was that interference to hide a dark fortress? Makes me think of the stories of automobiles shutting down when UFOs fly overhead. I did a video on this a couple of years ago on this channel, titled, "Did NASA Find an Alien Space Colony Lurking in Our Outer Solar System?" I covered 15180 R1 in the last third of the video as I go deeper into the explanation of the Fermi paradox with emphasis on the great filter theory. At first, I would suggest we can't even survive our own selves. Maybe it is now time to forget Mars and launch our own dark fortresses into the stars. Use the resources of the asteroids and the moon to get a jump start, and really soon. No point in fighting over land and resources on this tiny place when there's a boundless bounty available in outer space. Because the universe isn't short on real estate, it just has a strict no noise policy. Stop fighting over the crumbs when the bakery of the cosmos is open for business. Now let me be crystal clear. We have already told the universe we are here. Due to that stupid mistake, our very existence is at stake. As your new space minister, I warn you, they can be sinister to the world's elite who want to fight and divide this pie. Look instead to the sky, for if not, we shall all truly die. Fighting with escalating technologies over these lands will lead to our own demise at our very own hands. Or alien inhabitants of dark fortresses will ensure our demise if we fail to make the jump into the deep, dark skies. If we desire a future that is truly great, let us pray it's not already too late. When 3-Eye Atlas or some future comet swings around the sun, let us hope and pray that our days are not already done. That everyone would not want to leave Earth is clear. So let us build a trillion dark forces, forming a stellar sphere. From the Oort cloud, we could detect and overwhelm invaders from space and preserve the future of the human race. Then life can quietly thrive on Earth and Mars as we quietly, boldly reach out to the stars. We can find our ultimate bountiful paradise, living quietly, silently inside our worlds of ice. What better thing could be seen than turning the universe green, spreading Earth life through the galaxy far and wide for our descendants, an exciting, exhilarating, epic ride. Failure to build dark fortresses in far-flung skies will surely lead to our own demise. In the end, it won't be the space aliens that destroy us. It'll be our own refusal to act like one. Be in tune with that if the universe is to be one. It all boils down to one question you can see. As the bard said, to be or not to be. To see my video, did NASA find an alien space colony lurking in our outer solar system? Click the banner above. Yes, indeed, this is Galactic Greg's. Subscribe and bang the bell and click all for more cosmic content to come. Thank you all for watching, and with that I say, Reg out.